Everybody, welcome to the Mark Z Drumcast on this Friday, this gloomy Friday edition of the show. I want to thank you all for coming and welcome you to the show. We're on the East Coast of the United States here, and the weather has been gloomy for at least a week. And then right before that, we had a pretty cold snap where we had single-digit temperatures overnight sometimes, and definitely a lot of in the teens type of temperatures, but we've come out of that now, and now we're in this gloomy period. So this is our winter as we move through into February. Happy February, everybody. We are just the tip of February is where we're at right now. So, a couple of things I want to touch on real quick today, because I have, why are we, let me know if you guys experience this type of frustration where every so often you seem to have to re-sign into everything that you have set up and have been set up for, however long. And you're rolling along and you just want to get things going, and then you have to re-sign into stuff. Luckily, this was not an ordeal, but if I could just one-click something and sign in, why sign me out in the first place? If I don't have to now physically put in my password again, why sign me out in the first place? It's not a security thing. If it's as easy, it's like the electronic signature online these days, right? Your signature means nothing. It used to mean everything. Well, that's not his signature. Let's get a signature expert to compare the two. Now you can draw whatever you want. I'll keep it clean. On the pad as you're signing for something, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you sign, does it? Electronic signatures, you're filling out paperwork online for a job or an application for something, and they're like, hey, sign. So you type in your name, and that's the signature now for online. Which, if everybody else on the planet typed your name in, it would look exactly the same. So what's the point of signing something? Maybe it's legal. Maybe it's like, hey, you put your name on this. Did I put my name on this? Or did I just type some words in? Anyway, that's not the point of the show. If you've watched the show or heard the show, you know that you're going to get random stuff, right? Random stuff. So I just put up a new drum cover on my YouTube channel. I'm working on some really cool stuff for my Patreon. But I have a drum cover up on my YouTube channel. Go and check it out. See what you think. See if you like it. I like it. I really like the song. It is a song that I did with one of my student bands. I'm getting a lot of new music from my student bands these days, so what I'll do is I'll find some stuff that I like. I'll find some new songs that I like, and I'll cover them because some of my students will follow me on social media, and I think they'll get a kick out of me covering the song that they just covered. But actually, this particular song got dropped from the set, kind of last minute. So it's kind of good that I threw that drum cover up there, and I hope that you all enjoy it. It's really fun. The thing I want to talk about today, real quick, because again, the format of the show is changing. We're always evolving and developing and changing. But it's always new, something good, something better. I always try to make things better here on the Mark Z Drumcast. It is still a one-man and one-dog operation, myself and Louie. I'm not sure if he's here. Where is he? No, he's not here. Oh, yes, he is. He's standing right next to me. I thought I saw his little fuzzy head. There he is. Now, if I play drums, he's probably going to head out. Are you going to stay? He's thinking about it. He's thinking about leaving. I haven't really done much on the drums. I think he's getting a little more comfortable. Oh, there he goes. He's like, yeah, I've had about enough of this. Okay, 6/8 time. Anybody heard of it? I love 6/8 time. Hey, thank you for joining up on Twitch. What is up? say hello, feel free if you are inclined to do so. If not, just hang out. That's all good. 6/8 time, have you heard of it? Let's go a little bit over time signatures. Time signatures give us a lot of great information about the music we're playing, whether it's sheet music or a song we're listening to. You know, knowing the time signature is very, very helpful. There are a wide range of time signatures, but there are a couple that are very common in today's music, or really in music in general. Not so much today's music. But I will say that in the music I listen to, which is like rock, hard rock, heavy metal, some bands have taken, you know, and they call the genre math metal. And they take time signatures to a new level, right? And not taking time signatures to a new level, but using different time signatures in their music is what they take to a new level. And it's really, really cool. And it's fun. And as a drummer, if you're trying to learn one of these songs, it's a challenge to figure out the time signature by counting and listening. So I'm all about that because I'm 100% about the challenge and testing our own knowledge and understanding of music, of timing, reading music, rhythms, all kinds of things. So 6/8 time. A time signature gives us vital information about the music that we are playing or reading. There are two numbers, one on top of the other, in the very beginning of the piece on the left side of the first line. And sometimes it's included all throughout each line of the piece of music. It all depends on who's writing the music. One thing to really keep in mind when you're reading music, there are a lot of different ways to write the same music, to write the same pattern, to write the same rhythm. So do yourself a favor and learn a lot of different ways. Learn a lot about rests and dotted notes and ties and things like that, and repeats and section repeats and codas and del segnos and all kinds of things like that, first and second endings, because there are many ways to write the same piece of music. A lot of repeats are used when they want to shorten the physical piece of music on a page so that we're not taking up a bunch of pages of music. But repeats will help us to condense a piece of music with the understanding that we're going to repeat this section however many times. But really, time signature is what we're talking about. So let me not get off on a tangent. Time signature tells us the how many beats per measure. A measure is a section of music that you will see with in between two lines mostly, or the beginning of the piece, and a small line that is like cutting off the one section from the other. And each section is called a measure. So the top number tells us how many beats are in one measure. Most commonly, 4/4 time is used. The bottom number tells us what kind of note gets one beat. So the 4 on the bottom indicates that a quarter note gets one beat. So 4/4 time is the most common time signature used in music. So it is also known as common time. So if you see a big C, where normally you'll see those two numbers on top of each other, that means it's common time. And that means that it is 4/4 time. So that's the most common time signature. I know we're talking about 6/8, but it's important to know that 4/4 time is the most common. I would say, and I don't know this for sure, but I would say the second most common time signature may be 6/8. Now I'm talking about rock music mostly, but based on my explanation, the top number is a 6. That means there is 6 beats per measure in this particular time signature. The bottom note is an 8, which means an 8th note gets one beat in this particular time signature. So let's compare the two. I'm going to play a rock beat in 4/4 and talk about it, and then I'm going to play a rock beat in 6/8 and I'm going to talk about it. I'm actually going to leave my vocal mic on because it wasn't too bad last time. All right, so here we go. This is 4/4 time. I'm going to play 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and on my hi-hat. I'm going to play the bass drum on 1, snare drum on 2, bass drum on 3, snare drum on 4. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. So that is 4/4 time. Bass drum on the 1, snare drum on the 2, bass drum on the 3, snare drum on the 4. So each bass drum and snare drum is a quarter note that I'm playing. But I'm playing eighth notes on the hi-hat, which are faster, right, by 2. If you hear the hi-hats going twice as fast as the bass drum, then the snare drum, then the bass drum, then the snare drum. Now let's try 6/8 time. I'm going to play the hi-hat exactly the same way because I was playing eighth notes on the hi-hat in 4/4, and I'm going to play eighth notes on the hi-hat in 6/8. The only difference is each one of the hi-hat notes I'm playing is going to count as one beat, not a half a beat. So here we go, 6/8 time. The difference with 6/8 time, a basic 6/8 beat, the bass drum hits on the 1, the snare drum hits on the 4. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there you have 6/8 time. Songs that are in 6/8 time. House of the Rising Sun by The Animals. Lights by Journey. And a little more recently, Breakaway by Kelly Clarkson, which is a really pretty song. A lot of slower kind of ballads are in 6/8. You'll notice that in 4/4 time, I'm playing one hi-hat in between the bass drum and the snare drum. So it'll be bass drum, hi-hat by itself, snare drum, hi-hat by itself. In 6/8 time, I'm playing two hi-hats in between the bass drum and the snare drum. So they feel further apart because they are, and it feels differently. If you've ever put on a 6/8 song and tried to play 4/4 time to it, it is pretty much impossible. It feels super weird. You don't know what's going on. This is what's going on. So again, Breakaway, Lights by Journey, and House of the Rising Sun by The Animals. All really good 6/8 songs, not too fast. Another one would be Toxicity by System of a Down. Okay, so again, 6/8 time, bass drum on the 1, snare drum on the 4. So that opens things up. We're still playing hi-hats on the eighth notes, but each measure is only getting 6 hi-hats instead of 8. And where in 4/4 time you get 2 bass drums and 2 snare drums and 8 hi-hats, in 6/8 time you're going to get 1 bass drum, 1 snare drum, and 6 hi-hats. Okay? Counting is very important here because if we add the bass drum not only to the 1, but to the 3 and the 6, we get something that more resembles Lights by Journey. At times in that song, he's putting the bass drum on the different eighth notes. So this is how we change a rock beat in 6/8 time. We can add a bass drum to any one of the hi-hats that we want. So this is bass drum on 1, 3, and 6, snare drum on 4 only. And here we go. 6/8 time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to get into, we're just about out of time, but I want to get into, maybe on Monday's show, I would like to get into what we can do with 6/8 time. So check it out, go online, do a little bit of research if you want to learn more about 6/8 time. This is a basic overview that I wanted to tell you about. And then like I said, on Monday's show, we'll dive a little deeper into it. Because remember, for those of you who know basic reading, if an eighth note is getting 1 beat, then a 16th note is now worth a half a beat. In 4/4 time, where a quarter note gets 1 beat, an eighth note is worth half a beat, and a 16th note is worth 1/4 of a beat. But when an eighth note gets one beat, that 16th note is now worth half a beat. And if we want to have quarter beats, then we'd have to go to 32nd notes. But we'll talk more about that on Monday. Thanks for tuning in. This is the new format, short and sweet, so that I don't get into all of this other stuff. Head on over to my Patreon, Mark Z Drums on Patreon. Thank you to all, before I forget, thank you to all the new subscribers on YouTube. A lot of people have jumped on board Mark Z Drums channel, and I really appreciate it. Thank you all for checking it out. I appreciate your support. And for you Twitch viewers, thank you so much for hanging out with me or watching my live stream later on. It's really fun to be part of the Twitch community. Invite your friends, share, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Thank you so much. Mark Z Drums on Patreon, and I will catch you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.